My name's Token D Rock here with another stream. Hopefully, all of you are having a wonderful day. It's 9:35 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you're watching us live, crypto has officially reached a $1 trillion market cap once again. Again, I do think this will be short-lived. Do think these prices are going to recede quite a bit here in the next coming weeks, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below. Bitcoin dominance climbing up to 41.3% today. ETH dominance climbing up to 19.5. Bitcoin consolidating right now between roughly, I think, 21,200 and 21,600, 21,700. ETH is a little higher than it was yesterday, sitting at 1590, just a bit closer to $1,600. Binance coin sitting at 301, a little bit lower than yesterday. Cardano 35 cents. Polygon a penny cheaper than yesterday. Overall, things have pumped just a little bit, but some of these altcoins have bled just a tiny bit since yesterday. Taking a look at the DJI, or the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we can see since opening we have been going down a little bit here. Lost about, looks like almost 150, 175 points since opening this morning. We'll see what continues later in today. Again, looking at the minute chart for Bitcoin, we have been pretty much between 21,000 and 21,650, just consolidating. Again, looking at the hourly, you can see pretty much the same thing. We haven't really dipped very much below 21,000 for about almost a day's time. So again, just more consolidation on the Bitcoin, roughly between 20,800 and then 21,650. Again, we'll see if the bulls continue with that momentum going later into the week. We have again, looking at the daily chart, we look like we're about to fizzle out before we roll over a little bit and some downside price action. That's just my speculation as to where price is going. Could call me a bear, could call me a bull, but I definitely am very, very bearish right now, considering everything going on. We can see that DXY is seeming to trend even further downwards, nearing 100. Right now, we're sitting just barely below 102. Obviously, if this continues downwards, we can see some more rallying out of stonks and crypto. But if this swings upwards and reverses trend, we will see stonks and crypto get smashed as a result. Headed over to Twitter for some news. Bitcoin processed roughly 72,940,383,099 worth of transactions this past weekend, while banks and the stock market were closed. Just let that sink. The network never really sleeps, so to speak, for Bitcoin. Always people doing transactions, sending money. So that's good. Bitcoin will make El Salvador the next Singapore, according to Max Kaiser. I do think El Salvador adopting Bitcoin as legal tender will be very fruitful for them in the long term. Short term, it might hurt them a little bit, considering how low prices. But maybe they're just buying more at these lower prices. There are many people that claim to understand Bitcoin and how it will change the world, but are fragilely holding on to beliefs that belong in the past. Fed's bargain to pause inflation must be convincingly back to target. So basically, to stop the rate hikes that we've been seeing from the Federal Reserve, inflation needs to prove, it needs to be convincing that we're back to where we want to be, which is right around 2 to 3%. Um, the Fed's signal time and time again that we're nowhere near where we want to be. We're probably closer to like 5 or 6%, but they want to get it all the way back down to 2 to 3%. So probably have a few rate hikes in the pipeline. Fed's barking, also saying we must raise interest rates as long as inflation remains elevated. So again, I don't think Fed is going to pivot at some point in 2023. If they do pivot or reverse and do some rate cuts, I do think it'll be probably sometime in quarter 3 or quarter 4. I don't see it for the first half because it seems like they still have a good 2 to 4 rate hikes potentially before they pause, and then they'll pivot maybe a month or two after they do the pause, but we'll see. This person put this out. Well, this is dull. You know what they say about dullness in a bear market. Buckle up, stake time. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, about the research is pinned. Here we go. Here's the text. Dullness following the peak of a bear market rally is a common danger sign. However, it is often confused by the average investor who fails to realize that the old adage, never sell a dull market, does not apply when the primary trend is down. And the primary trend right now is down for stonks and crypto. Dow was the first to recognize the implications of dullness. In 1902, he wrote, "The action in the market after dullness depends chiefly upon whether a bull or bear market is in progress. Bear market is in progress." So, um, in a bull market, dullness is generally followed by advances. In a bear market, by declines. He adds that in bear markets, prices fall because values are falling. Yeah, so again, don't get too caught up with the most recent rally out of stonks and crypto. Can experience some more downside. So just be prepared. Just in, Microsoft looking to fire 11,000 employees again as the economy contracts, it shrinks, more and more people will be left unemployed because these corporations, the demand won't be where it was these past 2 3 years with the pandemic and such. So these companies, to continue raking in profits, they're going to have to lay off some employees, just like Microsoft, Amazon, Walmart, all the big names are doing. Swiss city of Lugano's Bitcoin. Plan B is orange pilling WF leaders at Davos 2023. And don't think one second that they aren't these wealthy elites aren't buying up the Bitcoin. They definitely are. Something that I thought I'd point out is you have MasterCard right here. I was a part of the Tech Lodge, and then Polygon's right there. We've discussed how Polygon is kind of integrated with the World Economic Forum one way or another, whether we like it or not. So do what you want with that information. I personally probably won't invest a whole lot in Polygon as a result. The problem is with the company, or sorry, problem with an organization like what's it called, the World Economic Forum, is they have so much money at their disposal. So it's very easy for them to basically own large sectors of a given asset class and such, like crypto. Disgraced former CNN anchor Brian Seltzer, I guess, is over in Davos, hosting a panel on media disinformation at the World Economic Forum over in Davos this year. He says that the US has a lot to learn from European internet censorship. Again, just goes to show you that you don't have to be an elected leader. This guy was just a former anchor over at CNN that got the boot, but he's hosting a panel about disinformation, and how the US can learn from the EU's super pro censorship approach on the web and such. World Economic Forum leaders say you should stop eating meat and change. Yet thousands of private jets have flown into Davos for their event this week. The World Economic Forum should be shut down. Retweet if you agree. Yeah, it's pretty hypocritical. Say, oh yeah, we need to do X, Y, and Z about the climate. You give up your red meat, and we'll keep flying around in our private jets, unchecked, unscathed. Again, rules for thee, but not for me. Elon Musk just called out how the director of the FBI is speaking at the World Economic Forum. The rabbit hole is deeper than you can even imagine. What business does the director of the FBI have speaking at the World Economic Forum? It's not his job to represent the U.S. abroad. Very true. Why is Christopher Wray, or FBI director, speaking at the World Economic Forum? Well, Ursula von der Leyen at the World Economic Forum, to my understanding, she's like the spokesperson of the EU or something like that. She says the next decade see the greatest industrial transformation of our times, maybe of any time. Again, basically saying the loud part out loud, or the quiet part out loud, and basically just prepping you, mentally speaking, because she said it. So you're prepared for the coming change, the drastic changes that may or may not be needed to be taken. The drastic changes that are going to be needed to be taken to curb climate change, curb X, Y, and Z, whatever they have on their agenda. So, yeah. Henry Kissinger, Klaus Schwab's mentor, told the World Economic Forum today that Ukraine should join NATO. So, and if Ukraine were to join NATO, essentially, the U.S., not just by giving Ukraine, not just the UK giving Ukraine weapons, we would actually send troops there and have U.S. troops fighting alongside Ukraine if they were to become a member of NATO. It would essentially mean World War III, and this guy has taught Klaus Schwab many things. They have very similar approach on how the world should be run. Just a reminder that Klaus Schwab's father actually served under Adolf Hitler. So make of that what you will. The apple probably doesn't fall too far from the tree. Not trying to say that people can't be different from their parents, but typically there's some resonance between the two. They're related. Go figure. If people truly cared about the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian nation, they would be urging a ceasefire and a peace treaty, not demanding more weapons. Exactly, but people like Kissinger, Schwab, and many others don't want peace. They just want war. They make money from that. So you know why you know why they are all of a sudden talking about how bad gas stoves and gas heating is in general. Well, the EU sanctions cut off cheap Russian gas. So American gas producers are trying to cut US consumption so as to sell the gas to the EU at a huge markup. Here we have all the mainstream media, NPC outlets saying gas stoves are dangerous, pollute our homes, cause heart disease in our children. Jimmy Dore says, of course. Here we have California punishing its own citizens again. This lady's 88 years old. She's going to be paying $927.86 for their next bill. I'm assuming this is the gas heating bill. Just that's crazy. $927. How does anyone pay that? Let alone an 88-year-old who just gets Social Security and maybe some benefits, like best case scenario. Pretty crazy stuff. Here we have Biden mocking Russia in 1997 as Moscow warned that NATO expansion would force Russia to turn to China.
Repeated with Levin. They talked about they don't want this NATO expansion. They know it's not in their security interests and on and on. And said, well, and if you do that, we may have to look to China. And I couldn't help using the colloquial expression from my state by saying to Zaganos, lots of luck in your senior year. Good luck. And if that doesn't work, try Iran. I'm serious. I said that to them, and these were and they know. I knew. They knew. Everybody knows that that's not an option.
He mocked them, and then they basically, went and did exactly what he said they were afraid to do. It's like playing stupid games wins you nothing with stupid prizes. Here we have Avi Yemini, sorry if I butchered your name, saying he bumped into AstraZeneca's boss as he entered the World Economic Forum today. Mark now admits that the medical procedure administered never stopped the spread, but justified the mandates anyways. He scrambled behind the restricted area before I could ask him about the recent rise in sudden deaths, but I'm here all week. Here, I'll
Mark,
play part
how
of
you doing?
the
So can I ask you a quick
exchange.
couple questions? How you think about the vaccine mandates around the world? If you still think it was a good idea?
It was a very good idea, yes.
But it obviously didn't stop the transmission. So what's the reason for that?
Well, no, transmission is only one of them. The protection of people is probably the most important objective in the vaccination programs.
So, but the point to mandate it was to stop spread. So why do you need a mandate?
To protect the largest number of people in the world. I think it was a very great idea.
So you need to force people to protect themselves. The whole narrative was, sir, the whole narrative was about the spread. So there you go. You've heard it from the drug dealer himself.
I'm surprised Mark Denoyer even engaged, to be honest, but I like how he kind of got in their face and asked some questions that a lot of quote unquote journalists wouldn't ever dare question because their salaries may be at risk. But here we have Paul Mitchell talking about how medical procedures in livestock and companion animals are here now. He's saying, I absolutely do not want to eat jabbed beef, pork, or chicken. In fact, there should be warning labels on any such food products so that consumers can avoid them. He's telling the farmers don't do it. So I guess livestock, along with companion animals, will now take the medical procedure for whatever reason. I guess it's to, as the guy said, stop the spread or whatever. I'm not exactly sure the whole aim of this. Does this mean that livestock or companion animals that have the medical procedure, does that mean that they can spread the medical procedure? Does that mean they're more contagious, as we have discovered that the latest strain of C19 seems to be attracted to people who receive the medical procedure? I don't know, but it's pretty crazy. Here we have Ryan Cunningham saying Bill Gates told President Trump not to launch a commission supported by Robert Kennedy Jr. into the harmful effects of medical procedures. The Iron Curtain has been rolled back as the truth comes out. Pretty crazy stuff. I mean, it's not too surprising that Mr. Gates told Trump not to launch that commission, considering he is a big proponent into administering medical procedures to livestock and companion animals. So it would make sense. He only benefits from no commission being established. Did you know that gay liberal activists stormed the NIH in 1990? They blamed Dr. Anthony Fauci blocking cheap and effective AIDS treatments and for only promoting expensive and toxic drugs that benefited Big Pharma. Fauci did the same thing during COVID-19. I'll play part of this clip.
You know, the whole thing with the National Institutes of Health is they won't test any of these drugs that'll keep people alive. And I got this saying, no peptide T, no compound Q. Anthony Fauci, I piss on you.
We're approaching testing out here in front of the fucking NIH because they're not hiding all drugs and they're not coming out with a cure and they're not doing their job.
We're talking about their conflict of interest with the pharmaceutical companies. We're talking about the fact that they don't allow people of color into their trials. We're talking about the fact that they don't care about women. They don't care about children.
You know, what's crazy is what that guy just said. They don't care about women. They don't care about children. It's like, if you say that nowadays, you're considered a right wing or whatever. It's like so weird how things have kind of like flipped upside down and around. It's crazy, but I thought that was an interesting clip. I won't play all of it, but I thought I'd share some of that with you guys. And yeah, a lot. If you're skeptic on any sort of medical procedure nowadays, you're considered a right winger or an alt-right extremist at worst case scenario. Here we have Senator Ron Johnson discussing Nuremberg trials and the COVID cartel. He says one of the reasons the Nuremberg trials were made possible is because Eisenhower made sure the camps were exposed for what they were, and those horrors were revealed to the world. That's why the first step here is exposure. So again, we need to bring to light the all sudden deaths, just happening out of nowhere, and we need to tie it towards potentially a medical procedure just to show everyone how horrific this thing really is. I'm glad we have people like Ron Johnson pushing forward this idea of transparency. Like, who would have thought we needed transparency all this time? But clearly there's not very much transparency in the system. So good on people like him trying to advocate for such things. Who's ready to mask again? Says Robert W. Malone, MD, one of the inventors behind the mRNA vaccine. He says the World Health Organization's dark vision for the world and public health should have all of us scared. Don't forget they are still working on strategic agreements with the coalition of nation states to consolidate their power on the world state. And as we've discussed a few times on this channel, World Health Organization is proposing this idea to essentially nullify the sovereignty of any nations in the name of a pandemic or an emergency. Essentially, World Health Organization can shut down countries just like that in a heartbeat. So pretty crazy stuff. Here we have the greater good. Expect climate lockdowns in the future under the guise of protect the planet. They're going full throttle with climate change in order to digitize all aspects of our lives.
So we really are in this realm of the coordination of the different entities that make up the globalist architecture in order to move towards, as I mentioned yesterday on your show, the centralization of power. And Alain Berset further made this point when he said, quote, the world needs strong multilateral platforms because the greatest present day challenges are climate change, pandemic, war, migration, proliferation. So as you said in your open, climate change very much features heavily in the agenda for this week, because we know that this is the Trojan horse that they are using in order to digitize our society, to implement social credit score systems with carbon rations. We can expect probably climate lockdowns in the future as well, all in the guise of protecting the planet. So we had a preview of certain of the policies with the so-called pandemic. They tested the lockdowns. With that, they tested the digital IDs with that as well. They kind of prepare the public for a sort of acceptance of the digitization of our society with the so-called pandemic, and now they're going full throttle with climate change in order to digitize all aspects of our lives.
Damn, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, and Bank of America says CBDCs and stable coins are the natural evolution of money and payments. Again, digitizing all aspects of our lives. Yeah, well, they're going to be doing that here with the money with CBDCs and stable coins. So I hope you guys are ready for that. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's all starting to make sense as to where this is headed. But again, like we've discussed in today's stream, they're basically headed towards a consolidation of power. We're going to have two hegemonies. The hegemony, which includes United States, Canada, France, Spain, Germany, UK, etc. And then the Eastern hegemony is going to probably consist of Russia, China, North Korea, India, potentially Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Brazil, and Pakistan said they wanted to join BRICS. So there you have it. Saudi Arabia says they are open to settling trade in currencies other than the U.S. dollar. Again, we caught wind of this last year with the whole Russian invasion of Ukraine. We talked about this several times. Potentially, Saudi Arabians doing transactions outside of the U.S. dollar, so maybe rubles or yuan. All I know is the world is being fragmented into two sides. You essentially have to choose which one you're on, and then if you don't want to basically follow the rules, so to speak, I guess you will be considered an outlaw, and you will have to find other means, probably via privacy coins like Monero, which I'm sure Bitcoin will play a role into that somehow. But overall, I think this is pretty interesting scenario we find ourselves headed towards, where you won't be able to eat meat. If you put too many CO2 molecules of emissions out into the atmosphere, your social credit score will go down. If you don't comply with CBDC laws and stuff like that, your score will be deducted. It's basically communism. That's the way I would put it. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed today's stream, please like and subscribe, hit notification bell to be notified when we go live next. I will see you guys all tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Center time. Until then, take care and invest wisely.